When I was in seventh grade, I remember looking at the dusty beakers and molecular modeling kits in my science teachers' classrooms and wishing I could use them. We never did. It was an endless parade of worksheets. I never went outside, we never did labs, we didn't have clubs. When I became a teacher, I determined that my students would get opportunities in science that I didn't. My name is Steve Gaskill, and I teach 6th and 7th grade science at K.O. Knutson Middle School, a magnet school for the performing arts. I also serve as the science department chair. In my classes, we use our beakers and our modeling kits. I've won more than $14,000 in grants to make sure that my students also have carbon dioxide sensors and infrared thermometers and calcium chloride and Lugol's iodine solution and melting point stations. I crowdfunded to build a greenhouse, and I wrote a grant so we would have a school garden. With the greenhouse and garden, I'm currently leading a multi-site watermelon genetics research project. This is so my students can see how research in the real world works. We're crossing solid and striped watermelons and scarlet and coral-fleshed watermelons to determine which traits are dominant and recessive, and potentially, if a new gene is involved in sugar baby watermelon flesh. To fund our research, we also have fun making bath bombs and sugar scrubs to sell at farmers markets.
This is Chloe, reporting from the Clark County Government Amphitheater. We're here for the farmers market. My favorite part was being with my friends and learning a lot about farmers market because I've never been to it. I learned today that there's a lot of things to grow vegetables, that there's a lot of artistic and creative kids out here, um, and that there are really nice people in our community. I learned that you have to be out there and you have to smile.
I learned how to market and sell and things to say to intrigue people to want to buy.
I learned that we need to work as a team and that we need to have good communication skills, and that selling stuff is pretty hard to other people. Some of the successes is that we sold out our sugar scrubs and our soaps. My favorite part was when people would come over and then they would buy something and we would all clap for them. My favorite part was that I could come out here and help the community.
I take my students into the real world and work with real world partners. Last year, we visited an abandoned gold mine in El Dorado Canyon.
I learned that that mine down there, the white ore, is how miners found where gold and stuff is.
My favorite part was when we had to go into the cave and then look at all the fascinating stuff and took pictures of it.
My favorite part of the field trip was when they turned off the lights to the mine, and it was more realistic because back then the miners only had candles and that's the only source of light that they had.
It's enriching to know your history and to understand where you came from and how things ended up the way they ended up here. And we worked with the city of Las Vegas to plant milkweeds in the park next to our school. My students even succeeded in persuading Mayor Goodman to proclaim April Monarch Butterfly Month. This year, my students were concerned about the amount of pollution going into the Las Vegas Wash. So we worked with the city again to paint a mural around the storm drain in front of our school to raise public awareness about the need to keep our water clean. I also coach my school's model bridge building team and bring them to the UNLV College of Engineering to compete in the Southern Nevada Model Bridge Building Competition. We've never come in lower than 4th place. My students may be majoring in dance and orchestra and video production at our arts magnet school, but we still usually beat the science and engineering magnet students at the competition. Students look forward to Valentine's Day each year. That's when 100 or so rainbow trout eggs arrive from the Nevada Department of Wildlife, so we can see real embryonic development and talk about ecology. As a co-advisor for our school's Honor Society, I'm proud to report that our students raised over $250 for the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth this year, to follow up on hundreds of dollars raised in previous years for St. Baldrick's Children's Cancer Research and the Fossils of the Ice Age Park in Tule Springs.
Mr. Gaskill has been very supportive of what we do, and he gives us a lot of freedom in having us make the choices in NJHS.
As a teacher, I am always trying to develop new ways to give my students opportunities that I didn't have.
The thing I liked most about Mr. Gaskill's class is that he always kept everything very interactive, and there wasn't a lot of just sitting and learning. It was a lot of doing things.
We sometimes play games to learn what we're learning about.
He made this game where we had to be like gas and liquids, and we had to try to come here over a mountain to come and make rain.
I won on one of the games and I got some carrots from the garden.
He does demonstrations that help us understand better as sixth graders.
He does teach above the basic science class.
He's really creative and he really helps us learn about science.
He knows a lot and he also has a garden. I like the carrots.
I like the way he dances. It's really funny.
I want my students to see and experience the world around them and to advocate for themselves and for others. I want them to both learn science and to leave my class knowing how to make a difference in our community.